Hey everyone! Today, we're diving into how to ask for and give directions in a German-speaking city. We'll focus on some key phrases, the verb gehen, which means to go, and prepositions like in, auf, and neben. Just a heads up, German grammar can get a bit tricky, especially with cases, so pay attention to how these prepositions work with the nouns that follow. We'll practice with a city scenario. Let's get started. Guten Tag, everyone. Welcome back. Let's quickly refresh our memories. We've already learned.
Lesen,
Means to read.
spielen,
Is to play.
reisen,
Is to travel.
sehen,
Is to see, watch.
hören,
Is to listen.
arbeiten,
Is to work.
der Lehrer,
Is the teacher, and
der Arzt.
is the doctor. Today, we'll be building on this fantastic base with some more useful verbs.
Ich lese gerne Bücher. Ich lese gerne Bücher.
Ich spiele gerne Fußball. Ich spiele gerne Fußball.
Entschuldigung, wo ist die Schule? Entschuldigung, wo ist die Schule?
Die Schule ist neben dem Park. Die Schule ist neben dem Park.
Great job. Emily started with,
Entschuldigung, wo ist?
excuse me, whereas this is super important for being polite when asking for directions. James followed up with Die Schule ist neben dem Park. Notice the preposition neben, which translates to next to. Schule means school and park is park. Remember, neben usually takes the dative case, so it's
Neben dem Park.
this shows the location, where the school is.
Nein, es ist nicht weit. Gehen Sie geradeaus. Nein, es ist nicht weit. Gehen Sie geradeaus.
Emily asked,
Ist es weit?
is it far? A really useful question. James answered with Nein, es ist nicht weit. No, it's not far. Then he gave a simple direction.
Gehen Sie geradeaus.
Go straight ahead. The verb gehen is irregular, but here the present tense form gehen means to go. Note the formal sigh when giving directions, which shows politeness.
Gehen Sie nach links. Gehen Sie nach links.
Nein, gehen Sie nach rechts. Die Apotheke ist auf der rechten Seite. Nein, gehen Sie nach rechts. Die Apotheke ist auf der rechten Seite.
Emily asked,
Gehen Sie nach links.
should I go left? James replied,
Nein, gehen Sie nach rechts.
no, go right. Notice the preposition off, which means on. We say,
Auf der rechten Seite.
on the right side. Remember that off often indicates being on a surface. Here, it refers to the side of the street. And don't forget, die Apothek means the pharmacy.
Wo ist das Restaurant? Wo ist das Restaurant?
Das Restaurant ist in der Stadtmitte. Das Restaurant ist in der Stadtmitte.
Today, we'll be introducing the dative case, specifically when used with the preposition zu, which means to or at. Remember that prepositions often trigger case changes. When zu is used, it typically governs the dative case. For example, zu Hause at home requires Hause in the dative. This can be tricky, so pay close attention to how it affects the noun's form. We'll use it to specify where someone is going.
Ich gehe zur Bibliothek. Ich gehe zur Bibliothek.
Excellent, Emily.
Ich gehe zur Bibliothek.
Uses the dative case because zur is a contraction of zu der. Remember, Bibliothek is feminine, so in the dative, it becomes Bibliothek. The zu preposition tells us the destination of your movement. To solidify this, try forming sentences using zu with other locations we know.
Gehe ich zum Restaurant? Gehe ich zum Restaurant?
Very good question, James. Yes, you can ask it that way. Notice that zum is the contraction of zu dem. Since restaurant is masculine, its dative form is dem. When forming a question, remember to invert the verb and the subject, as you have correctly done here. A more natural phrasing would be Gehe ich ins Restaurant, using ins, which is a contraction of in das.
Wo ist die Bushaltestelle? Wo ist die Bushaltestelle?
Perfect, Emily. You've used a key question word,
Oh,
which means where is. This is a very common and essential phrase for travelers. Now, think about how you might respond, remembering the prepositions we've been practicing. Focus on accurately describing its location using in, off, or neben.
Die Bushaltestelle ist vor der Apotheke. Die Bushaltestelle ist vor der Apotheke.
Excellent, James. You correctly used the preposition, which means in front of or before. This signifies a location relative to another place. Remember that war takes the dative case, just like zu and sometimes do. Keep practicing recognizing which prepositions trigger which cases. It's a crucial element of German grammar.
kann ich hier parken? Kann ich hier parken?
Today, we'll introduce how to express preferences using phrases like ich möchte, would like, and ich bevorzuge, prefer. This expands your ability to request things and make choices, a vital skill for navigating daily life. We'll also touch upon gender agreement with nouns, ensuring you are using the correct forms.
Ich möchte einen Kaffee im Café. Ich möchte einen Kaffee im Café.
Notice how einen is used with Kaffee because it is masculine. This is a crucial point. Remember, ich möchte is followed by the accusative case, so you'll need to ensure the article matches the noun's gender. If it were feminine like einen Kuchen, a cake, you'd say ich möchte einen Kuchen.
Ich bevorzuge Tee, danke. Ich bevorzuge Tee, danke.
Excellent. Ich bevorzuge is a great alternative. Often, when expressing a preference, you might use prepositions like statt instead of. For instance, you could say ich bevorzuge Tee statt Kaffee, I prefer tea instead of coffee. Pay attention to sentence structure when combining preferences with prepositions.
Gibt es ein Museum in der Nähe? Gibt es ein Museum in der Nähe?
Here, we've used gibt es, which is a common way to ask is there. It's frequently used to inquire about the existence of something. Notice that the verb geben comes first in this question structure. A direct answer would be ja. Es gibt ein Museum. Yes, there is a museum. Or nein. Es gibt kein Museum. No, there isn't a museum.
Wie weit ist das Museum? Wie weit ist das Museum?
Today, we'll introduce modal verbs, starting with können, which means can or to be able to. It expresses ability or possibility. We'll see how it's used to ask if someone can do something, and it often appears when offering help or requesting something. Pay attention to its placement relative to the verb gehen.
Können Sie mir helfen, bitte? Können Sie mir helfen, bitte?
Notice how können precedes sei helfen. This is standard for modal verbs in German. They always come before the main verb in the sentence. The verb helfen then gets conjugated to match the subject. We're focusing on formal sei form here.
Natürlich. Was möchten Sie wissen? Natürlich. Was möchten Sie wissen?
James's response
Ja, natürlich.
means of course, a polite and helpful way to agree to a request. The phrase
Was möchten Sie wissen?
literally translates to what would you like to know, but functions as what would you like to know. It's a great way to offer assistance and encourages further communication.
Kann ich zum Bahnhof gehen? Kann ich zum Bahnhof gehen?
Emily is using können to inquire about her ability to go to the train station. This demonstrates the modal verb's function of expressing possibility. Notice the verb gehen follows, as we've practiced before, and is conjugated accordingly.
Ja, natürlich. Gehen Sie geradeaus und dann links. Ja, natürlich. Gehen Sie geradeaus und dann links.
James confirms she can go to the station and then provides simple directions.
Gehen Sie geradeaus und dann links.
Go straight ahead and then left. Notice he continues using sei, the formal you, reinforcing polite conversation.
Vielen Dank für Ihre Hilfe. Vielen Dank für Ihre Hilfe.
Today we'll focus on using möchten to express what you would like. It's a more polite way to request something than simply saying ich will. Notice how it requires the infinitive of the verb. It's a versatile construction for ordering food, asking for assistance, or expressing preferences in a more courteous manner. Let's see it in action.
Ich möchte einen Apfelsaft, bitte. Ich möchte einen Apfelsaft, bitte.
Excellent, Emily. You correctly used möchten with the infinitive form of haben to have. Remember that möchten requires the infinitive in its basic form, e.g., trinken, essen, gehen. We also see the addition of bit, which is an essential politeness marker in German. Always include it when making requests. Good job.
Möchten Sie vielleicht einen Kaffee? Möchten Sie vielleicht einen Kaffee?
Very good, James. Here, you're using möchten to offer something. The addition of dialect perhaps softens the offer, making it less direct and more polite. This is useful when you're unsure if someone wants something. Notice how the word order flows naturally.
Wo finde ich eine Postfiliale hier? Wo finde ich eine Postfiliale hier?
Today, we'll focus on the accusative case when using the preposition für, meaning for. Remember, prepositions dictate the case of the nouns they govern. Für often indicates purpose or the recipient. This can be tricky, so pay close attention to the sentence structure and the meaning. It's important to remember the accusative case answers the question whom or what.
Ich brauche einen Stift für meinen Bruder. Ich brauche einen Stift für meinen Bruder.
Excellent. Notice how einen Stift, a pen, is in the accusative case because it's the direct object of brauchen, need, and it's linked to für. Remember, accusative often indicates direction or the recipient of an action. Another key point is that the article changes depending on gender and number in the accusative case. Der becomes den, die becomes die, and das stays das.
Hast du Zeit für eine Tasse Kaffee? Hast du Zeit für eine Tasse Kaffee?
Very good, James. Here, für indicates the duration or purpose for which something is happening. It's signifying what the time is for. While Zeit is feminine, the case is still accusative because it's the object of the verb phrase haste, do you have. Don't get thrown off by feminine nouns. The grammatical rule still applies in many instances with für.
Ich suche ein Buch für mein kleines Kind. Ich suche ein Buch für mein kleines Kind. Ich gehe zum Park. Ich gehe zum Park.
Ich gehe in die Bibliothek. Ich gehe in die Bibliothek.
Perfect, Emily. Again, ein Buch is in the accusative case because it's the direct object of such search, and für clarifies who the book is for. To really solidify this, think of für as often linking an action to a beneficiary or purpose. Practice noticing where für appears in sentences and determining whether it's triggering the accusative case. It frequently will. Emily asked,
Wo ist das Restaurant?
"Where's the restaurant?" James replied,
Das Restaurant ist in der Stadtmitte.
"The restaurant's in the city center." Here, in means in or within. When we describe a location within an area, in usually takes the dative case. And remember, das Restaurant means the restaurant. Finally, Emily said,
Vielen Dank.
"Thanks a lot." A really polite way to express gratitude. James replied with,
Gern geschehen.
"No problem." These phrases are great to remember for any interaction. Now, let's review the grammar. So, we've covered the verb gehen, which you should remember is irregular. Also, the prepositions in, auf, and neben. The key takeaway is that prepositions often dictate the case of the noun. In usually indicates location within something, auf indicates being on a surface, and neben means next to. Keep practicing these phrases and really focus on case usage when working with these prepositions. They're fundamental for navigating in German. For homework, please write 3 short dialogues using the phrases we learned today. Imagine you're asking for directions to the school, the pharmacy, and a restaurant. Be sure to use the correct prepositions and verb forms. Feel free to get creative and add more details. That wraps up today's lesson. Auf Wiedersehen. Okay, everyone, fantastic work today. Let's quickly recap what we've learned. We covered asking for directions, important phrases like
Entschuldigung,
and using prepositions.